for it, find it, make it your own. It's the Get Thrifty Podcast.
Hey Thrifties, welcome back to the Get Thrifty Podcast, brought to you by ARC Thrift Stores. ARC Thrift Stores is a nonprofit thrift store chain, and I am your host, Maggie, and we are all about sharing everything that has to do with shopping secondhand. So if you're part of our unique thrift culture, please contact us. We would love to promote your business and your social channels and share your stories and advice with our listeners. As always, you can find ARC on Instagram and YouTube at ARC Thrift. Ladies and gentlemen, you know I love an accent on this podcast. Please welcome Brooke to the show. Brooke is the founder of Daisy and Stella Vintage, a highly respected antique clothing business specializing in authentic Victorian, Edwardian, and early 20th century fashions. A collector and vintage dealer since 1999, Brooke has built her reputation by sourcing rare garments, textiles, and accessories that showcase the extraordinary craftsmanship of another era. Growing up surrounded by antiques sparked a lifelong passion of history, fashion, and preservation. Today, Brooke loves educating collectors on the artistry and significance of pieces that are often more than 100 years old. In 2023, she expanded her impact by founding the Twin Cities True Vintage Show. Not to worry, we're going to ask all the questions. This is a curated event celebrating vintage fashions over 50 years old that attracts dealers and collectors from across the country and beyond. Brooke's passion for preserving fashion history continues to inspire both seasoned collectors and newcomers to the vintage world. We are so excited to have you, Brooke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I'm glad to be here.
We are jazzed to have you. I'll tell the story, but before we do that, so that people can follow along as they listen, how do we find you on socials, online? How do we connect with you and send you all of our love?
You can definitely find me on daisyandstella.com. That is my website that has some of my items for sale. Socials, the best place to find me would be on Instagram, and I'm just Daisy and Stella Vintage on Instagram. I also sell on Whatnot, and my user there is Daisy and Stella VTG. And then I'm also on eBay. And that's Daisy and Stella. So
easy peasy.
Just put in Daisy and Stella and you should find me pretty much anywhere.
It is easy to find. You have tons of great content, tons of easy ways to search you that make it super simple. But if you're listening today, please follow along, give her a like, give her a subscribe, and learn more about this wonderful guest of ours who, you know, I love an accent. We're very big into this. So let's also start with where you live, shop, source, all the places. Where are you from? Give us your little backstory here.
I grew up in Wisconsin, and then in 2022, actually moved to Minnesota. So that's definitely the Midwest accent that you're hearing, although I can't tell I have one. Okay. But I grew up going to antique malls with my mom. She collects antique dolls, and I just was not a doll person. Actually, kind of like I wasn't super excited going antiquing with her. And we'd go to auctions. That's when they had live auctions all the time, which was kind of fun because she'd give me some money and I picked out just some random things. You know, you get lots and you get like 10 things in a lot. But I really started to love vintage clothing in high school because I really wanted to wear something that no one else had. Mm-hmm. I wanted to dress different. And so I love the 70s. That's kind of what really got me into vintage. My mom also had a really cool 1970s wardrobe. Unfortunately, she got rid of most of it when I came into my teenage years. And I do remember she had this fantastic pair of leather lace-up boots all the way up to the knee. And I was probably 10, 12, I don't even remember. But she's like, do you want these? And I looked at them like, oh, Mom, those don't fit me. Like, why would I want those? And I didn't know. And now, to this day, I still think about those boots. And I ask her, I'm like, Mom, why did you ask me when I was 10 or whatever age I was?
Donated them?
She donated them. Yep. So hopefully they're in someone's closet and someone's loving them, but they were just so cool. So kind of a funny thing, I searched throughout high school and I did end up finding a pair very similar to hers, lace up, and I wore them to my high school graduation under my cap and gown. So I got a little bit of it back, but it wasn't quite the same as wearing my mom's.
Yeah, and it all comes full circle. What's old is new again, and that's the beauty of this world that we're in. And I love that you have this Victorian it's so much older than just the 70s. I too gravitated towards that 70s, loved that growing up in the 90s. Like, oh my God, had to have every bell bottom, every, band shirt and all the things. And any of, oh my gosh, I'm like remembering those shirts. My mom had a few with the collars, with the little
The peasant
colors.
shirts are kind of like the embroidered or everything.
Just even the t-shirt with like a different color neckline.
Oh, the regular color. Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
Those are the best. So, but these Victorian dolls, this is really like stumping me. I mean, I have like doll heads and stuff. I think they're creepy and I love them. Like my stores know if we like buy a store or rent a store and there's like a weird mannequin, save me the head.
Yep.
Do that. But these dolls are still collectible. We still have, a shelf at every single store dedicated to the creepy doll fad. Did any of that inspire this Victorian fashion?
So not really, at least not until later on.
Okay.
So she collects, I mean, her dolls, she has dolls from the 1700s, wood dolls that have these phenomenal silk like gowns. And so now I have an appreciation for dolls because I love their outfits. So now I'm like, ooh, I love that doll. I love that doll. And I wouldn't have looked at it twice before, but it's because of the outfits that they're wearing. So I guess now I do have appreciation for dolls, and it's mainly because of what they're wearing. But yeah, she's got quite an amazing collection. And
it's fascinating.
At the time I was like, dolls, I don't want a doll. I just wasn't a doll girl.
Okay, so how did you get into like selling though? I mean, this is a story.
Yeah, so my mom was actually selling on eBay right when eBay started. And so I was like, oh, I should do this because I was getting the $5, $10 to spend at the auction. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a little eBay account. And that's back like when you actually had to use a camcorder. You couldn't, like, there was no cell phone, so you had to use a camcorder. And then you had to go through this long process of taking photos with the camcorder, downloading them, where you actually heard the doot, 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 the sound. And it was like a 20-minute process just to get it downloaded and ready to even start your listing. But I started doing that and kind of got the bug, like the ooh. And then on eBay, I fell in love with like Gina from Mill Street Vintage. She had like her styles are great, 50s and 60s, and she always had these fantastic fit and flare jackets, coats, and then Timeless Vixen. I loved her 1950s like cupcake and prom dresses. So I was like, ooh, I love this. I love what they're doing. And then I kind of, was like, oh, I want to start finding these. And then I really started gravitating towards the 50s. And so it was a progression for me now to where I'm at.
Yeah,
I started in the 70s
eras. Wow.
And so my first passion was the 70s, wearing it and everything. In college I wore it, and there's some fantastic like vintage shops down on State Street in Madison that I would
Did you go to University of Madison?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
I am obsessed with that ocean of a lake. It's crazy.
Fun. It was a very fun time, and the lakes are great there.
I went to the student union, and my son's like, Mom, is this the Pacific Ocean? Like, no, this is a lake, son. So cool.
I will say the Memorial Union is, in my opinion, the best, but I haven't experienced many more. So I should amazing. Yeah. So then I just, like I said, I fell in love with the 50s through just watching some other sellers on eBay. And then there was Willie Street had this fantastic, and it still has, St. Vincent de Paul. And I remember driving past, and in the window there was this 1950s cupcake dress that had polka dots, and it was organza and red velvet polka dots. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get that dress. So that kind of started okay, now I'm starting to buy, I'm starting to collect, but I'm also buying because I'm selling on eBay and I'm going to college, or, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, it was like, okay, I want this to be my 10-year plan. Like, I want to have a vintage shop. And at that time I wanted a physical shop. So I kept expanding my inventory, finding more things. And it was kind of like, that was my vision. And at the time, I wanted to have a shop on State Street.
Yeah.
And then as it got closer and I found out the price of those storefronts, reality kind of set in. And I was like, okay, I can keep doing eBay. And then Etsy came along. So I'm like, all right, I should start an Etsy shop. I can still do eBay and Etsy. But then I kind of really jumped almost from eBay exclusively to Etsy exclusively, which I don't really think is I shouldn't have done that. I should have just stayed in both places. but I kind of jumped. And then, it wasn't until, gosh, actually this last year that I started my own website. So I've been on Etsy and I've done shows and dabbled a little bit back in eBay. But this last year I was like, okay, I'm going to buckle down and actually create my own website.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's such a daunting task. I think it's because, it's so easy to have a platform and you just plug things in. And it actually is pretty easy now with Shopify and all the different platforms there are, but it took me quite a while. But I'm on everything now. I'm on my website, I'm on Etsy, I'm on eBay, and now I'm dabbling in whatnot.
Well, I am curious about the whatnot of it all because I'm talking to more and more people that are really finding a voice there. And with your personality, I mean, talk about it and kind of the process of jumping into it because it can be really lucrative.
Yeah, yep. So I just really there's like a completely different community and whatnot.
Mhm.
It's weird because I've gone out east and I've done shows out there, and it starts to feel like you're in this small like vintage world, like everyone.
Yeah.
But then when I went on whatnot, I'm like, who are these people? I haven't even heard of these people, and they have like some really good stuff. It's like, have they always been out here? Have they been on like, I don't know. It was like a whole different community, and I've gotten to know people. And actually, one of the girls, Jackie, I reached out to her because I just love what she was doing. Her whatnot is Jackie Rabbits, and I invited her to vend the Twin City True Vintage show, and she came out, and it's just like, wow, this is neat. So it's just fun. There's a lot of energy, and you got people that are coming in. The part I wish they could get better at is I can't hear anyone. So when I'm doing a live auction, I'm explaining something, they can chat and I can try to see, but I'm trying to also explain. So there is a little bit of that disconnect. It's really nice to have someone helping you. Like my mom will be my moderator. And so she can read the questions and kind of help answer the questions if I don't see it. But it is a really neat community experience.
They're going to get that, all of those things worked out and ironed out. Now,
yeah.
I have heard reports that you got to start it low on whatnot. Do you subscribe to that?
So I do, yes. So I've done both. And I definitely know when you like I'll start something at $10 and you just, you get people bidding on it. It's just there's a lot more at stake if you're starting something at $10, especially if depending on what you bought it for. But sometimes people don't want to make that initial leap. So it's not for everyone. I will definitely say that because it does seem like if you don't start something low, you're not going to get many looks.
Yeah. And it really is about building your audience and sticking with it and being consistent. I mean, whatnot it's a whole different animal and I'm curious about it, but okay. So, and I'm sorry, we bounced around here, but you went from the 70s, then you went to the 50s. This Victorian stuff is wild. I haven't talked to many people that specialize in this particular niche. How did it turn into this really specific? I mean, these are, like you said, 100-year-old items. Did you source something? Was there like what's the story? Was there one item that made you go, oh, this is it?
I wouldn't say one item. It was more so in 2017. I like almost left vintage. I was just overwhelmed. I was doing, Victorian through the 70s.
Yeah.
But then I would find myself in my racks of clothing and just be like, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or like I want to be excited, or I want to like feel like happy when I look at this stuff. And I realized I was trying to do too much and I really needed to shrink my focus. And when you're trying to do over 100 years or cover over 100 years, you know general things about everything, but you're not as good at like being able to call things out because your focus is so vast that you can't really, specialize. So that's when I decided, all right, I really love like Victorian, Edwardian. I love like the femininity. I love the gossamer fabrics. I don't know. There's just something about them. I still love the 50s and the 60s and the 40s. I still love all those eras, but I just felt like for me, I needed to just narrow down my focus. And it's been amazing. I like literally can say pretty much everything on my racks I like.
Wow.
And I come down here and it's like, if I don't sell it, yes, I do need to make money and, to help my family and survive. But there are times where I'm like, all right, I love this and someone else will love it. Someone will come along at some point.
Find your people.
And yeah. And it's funny to get back to like this like how I got to where I'm at. I remember in early like 2004 and 2004 to 2006, I would go to these amazing auctions with my mom, and they had literally Victorian through the 70s. And at that time, I was buying 1950s, and my mom, because she loves antique dolls, but she also loves antique clothes, she was buying antique clothing. And I'm to this day, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like like because it's so hard to find now.
Yeah,
It's getting
she was
harder and
before her
harder
time. Yeah.
because just so many more people have access, which is awesome. I mean, there's so many ways to sell things now versus when they're, back in even like 99 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just easier. It's easier to get your items out, which also makes it harder to source. So more and more people, and then not only source, but then you have to make sure you stand out, right?
Yeah.
What am I going to do to stand out from this person? Because there's so much out there. If you're on social, it's like, it can get overwhelming. And sometimes I just have to turn it off because it's like, okay, oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. Where did they get, and then it gets to where, oh, what if this is the last time? I'm sure a lot of people have the same feeling as me, but I'm like, what if this is my last goodbye? Like, what if this is the last time I come across a collection like this?
Wow.
But it does seem to find me. I've been very fortunate. One of the things with narrowing my niche and doing the Twin Cities True Vintage show, one of my vendors, Francisca in Portland, she has a estate sale company that she does as well called Stumptown Estate Sales. And she was doing private appointments. She posted it on her Instagram for this collection. This woman had, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. This woman had items from the very late 1700s up to the 1950s, but a bulk of it was from 1840 to 1880.
Jeez.
And I was one of the first people out there. So I got to see all this, and I was blown away. To this day, I still dream about that appointment. And that was my first time flying across state just for one appointment. And hands down, the best buy of my life. It probably will always be the best buy of my life. And in terms of too, like, and I didn't bring any of them out, but I one of the she had roller prints from the 1840s, 50s, 60s, and just like these cottons that were unbelievable. I mean, this fabric that you don't see. And I don't know, it was just a really amazing experience seeing just all of that in one place.
Yeah. And do you really have to rely on those special? Let's talk about how you source. Kind of describe your process, because this isn't normal, like, I'm going to find this in the wild at a thrift store kind of sourcing that you do.
Right. Yeah. I used to go to the thrift stores, but I have not gone. I haven't gone to really source in such a long time because it just isn't going to happen for me. But I do have people that do reach out to me because they know that I am focused on this. So I had a woman reach out to me recently locally, and she had her mother's items, and she sent me some photos, and it looked like there was some decent stuff. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go check it out. And then when I got there, it was a really good buy. I mean, she had some amazing items. She actually had a 1920s wax head bust, and those are like incredibly, like an actual human size too. And so when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I've seen them online.
Yeah. Is this you use this in some of your displays on your website, correct?
I should show you. Should I grab it?
Yeah, grab it. Okay. Let's do it.
1 second.
We're going to try something unique today too, because I'm going to pull up the picture of that shawl that we found.
Okay, yep.
Because I've never done that before. I've never shared my screen on the Zoom. So just bear with us, guys. We're figuring it out. We're learning YouTube, but I would love, oh my God, that is so creepy and awesome.
Seen one of these in person. I've seen them online. And when I saw that she had it, I was just kind of blown away. I mean, it's like so realistic.
Yeah.
My son would think this is super creepy. I haven't even shown it to him yet because he does not like my dress forms in my office. they have to face the other
Yeah,
way.
he's gonna come to your basement and cry. No, oh, that's hilarious. So when was that used? What scenario was a
So
mannequin
that would
like?
have probably been in the 20s, and then they would have used it maybe even for showcasing necklaces or earrings,
Wow.
probably hats. You know, it would have been in a display like of some sort of storefront or a display. I actually saw something on Instagram recently where it was like these wax like full mannequins, like, and they were just like leaning over because
Leaning over
they were in
'cause
the
they had
they were
melted.
like, yeah, they were melted. So I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy and also kind of
Oh my
cool.
gosh, that is just wild. Where are these things kept? I get it
That
that
was
we
in an
have.
attic.
Okay, okay.
And I
That's
was
it.
like, how did this survive? Because it was hot up there too. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
this, you know, this is wax. I mean, I'm sure they put whatever coating they had to put on it, but still, like, okay, this was a warm attic. And it was, you know, it was just last month that I went. But no, that this woman had some great collections. She had she has shoes or that I purchased that she had kept in the original boxes, you know, from the 20s through the 40s. And so,
It's
yeah, I
amazing.
mean, those are dream buys, you know, when you get a call like that and you get to go in someone's home or, you know, someone's attic. Yeah, so I did this other buy, this woman in Columbus, Wisconsin, and my mom and I would go to her antique. She had 3 antique shops, all in Columbus, Wisconsin, and she had Victorian clothing through, you know, the
Did
70s too.
all. I mean,
Yeah, she pretty much did all. Even her house that she lived in was like part of the National Historical Society,
oh,
and it was a
geez.
museum.
Yeah.
So you walked
Oh,
into her
so she
house, it was
kept it.
like, but she ended up, she wanted to get out of the business, and so she called me and my mom, and basically I kind of got first dibs on that opportunity,
Yeah.
which was, you know, I mean,
You
it
are
just,
becoming really well known in this like industry. You've been doing this for a long time. I mean,
yeah, yep.
and so I reached out to you totally coincidentally. We had a weird shawl donated at our Grand Junction store, which for those of you that are Coloradans know that, you know, Grand Junction is kind of a funky place here on the Western Slope in Colorado, past the mountains. It's just a funky town. And Charlotte, our manager there, found this shawl. I'm going to try and share my screen so I can show viewers here, hopefully. All right. So this shawl was donated. Oh, you can see there's like a bare patch in the left or the right sleeve. But we got this and I put it into Claude. I was using some AI to kind of help me write a description as I do for many of our gala items because AI has changed my life. It's so quick. And they were like, do not sell this in your galas. It needs to go to a museum. There's something really special about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that means we should like call the local news. And I'm like, wait, I need to get it authenticated. And I'm talking to Sunshine, our lovely producer. And she was like, Maggie, you are talking to like the queen of this era's fashion, Brooke. And she can totally look at this. So of course I sent it to her. You were lovely. Thank you for sharing it and giving me some background on it. It's a very interesting fashion designer. You know, can you tell me anything about this particular designer, just like you told me before?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce the name. I'm assuming Emile Pingat.
Yeah,
I'm not
something
sure.
something French, right? It's a
Yep.
Parisian artist.
Yeah, and so I know he was around about the same time as Charles Worth, who had amazing ball gowns and women's fashions in the Victorian era. I think from the 60s, 1860 to maybe 18 or 1900. This particular designer was more known for his outerwear. As you can see with that donation, that's actually, if you can see the backside, it's shorter. So it's what you would call a mantle cape from it looks like the 1880s to me. Um,
I mean,
but
that's
yeah,
crazy. I
well,
mean,
and the beadwork and everything that would have gone into that, just the hours of hand beading and everything,
yeah.
is pretty amazing. So,
And it just makes you wonder, like, how does something that old end up at one of our thrift stores when we are, you know, I mean, people are just usually better about that. And it was in a garbage bag. So, Charlotte, good job if you're listening to this podcast, our manager there. I'm so happy. But of course, it comes across my desk. And the only reason that it ended up me taking a second glance is my merchandise person, Gerda, was like, Maggie, this is a delight. We need to look into it. So, I mean, it's just phenomenal the things you find. But you're absolutely right. Thrift stores, we just don't get this stuff anymore. It's so
that's
sad.
what I dream about finding at the thrift store.
Yeah.
So I kudos to you guys for picking it out and realizing it was something special.
So odd. And this year, like I was saying, we got a pram from the Victorian age too. I don't know what it is. Somebody died, that's all I can say, right? So sad, but also so great that someone, kids are smart enough to go, oh, let me get this to the right people. And that's when you get the call, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So a lot of Midwesterners call you for this, Wisconsin, Minnesota, but you were in Portland, Oregon. So let's talk about this show that you've kind of curated that actually brings together vendors in vintage from all over the world.
Yeah.
Give us the background.
So it's the Twin Cities True Vintage Show. I started it in 2023.
Mm.
So basically when I moved from Wisconsin to Minnesota, I met a few vintage dealers and kind of was asking, hey, what's the vintage scene like in Minnesota? And there was a market here, but it was more focused on 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's great, but it's just not my jam. Like that's not what I love. And so I'm like, okay, like what do you guys think about starting a true vintage show? And they were totally on board. I think what I'd heard from a lot of people that I met as I moved here and connected, there's so many people that had true vintage, but they didn't put it out. They were afraid it was going to get wrecked. So they even might be in a store, but that was in the back room. So if you didn't know where to ask for it, they didn't put it out because
interesting. They were
people,
gatekeeping these pizzas.
well,
Interesting.
I wouldn't say gatekeeping. It's just that sometimes when you go to stores that have more of that newer, if vintage is 20 years old, people are just going through those racks so quick. They don't care. But so you don't want to put something that's from the 20s or the 30s on the same rack that's gonna, yep. And I think there's that mentality sometimes of, oh, well, it's on the same rack, it doesn't matter, And so with the True Vintage Show, basically everything at the show has to be at least 50 years old. So we have stuff from the 1800s to the 1970s. Wow. And because this is true vintage, has to be 50 years old for this show. People have they have this reverence for it. It's like they go and they know that this is it can be delicate.
Yeah.
I mean, I have pieces from the 1900s that it's perfect cotton. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
you would
you don't
have
want
no
people
clue.
touching those things. Yeah.
Well, and what I'm trying to say is brand new. You wouldn't even know it because the cotton is so much better. It's 100% cotton. You don't even have that anymore. So there are things, but people do when they go to the show, they know okay, I'm not gonna whip through these racks. I'm gonna respect the clothing and the vendors, and it's a whole different thing. And I'm really proud of it, and I'm really proud of the vendors and what they brought to the show and the people that come out to enjoy it. It's just been a really fun experience seeing what everyone brings out. And there's so many Minnesotan vendors that do this show.
Yeah.
And I feel really proud to be part of this, part of the Midwest and part of Minnesota. Cause we've got some killer vendors out here that find the goods.
Oh, I love that. And they're proud of them and they come together. And so you create this community, lots of vendors. Is this a yearly affair? Give us some dates and some info.
Yep. So it was twice a year, but I'm a solo. I'm kind of a one-woman show, and I wanted my summer back.
Yeah.
So I might regret this, but I made it just a spring show. And so the next one will be April 17th, 2027. And then
you do this in downtown Minnesota. Is it in St. Paul? What part of the?
It's actually Falcon Heights, which is right next to St. Paul. It's part of at the State Fairgrounds, Minnesota State Fairgrounds. It's at the North End Event Center, and that's pretty much where it will be because I have that date locked in for as long as I want at this point. The venue is phenomenal. It's open. It's got tons of natural light, free parking. It's easy loaded and everything. So it's just a great venue. And to be honest, I don't know if it'll ever change location because the venue is so good and just fits perfectly, about 52 vendors. And that's what I want to cap it at. I don't really want more than that because I want it to be special and I don't want it to get too saturated. And I also want the wealth to go around to all the different vendors there. So, but yeah, it's textiles, jewelry, accessories, clothing. Yeah, 1800s and 1970s. If something from the 1700s came in, that would be great. I haven't seen any clothing articles yet from that, but I think the oldest thing that we had for clothing at one point was from the 1830s. So.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. And were you able to showcase that item too in a special way at this event?
Well, so I have done, we've done a mini museum.
Oh,
So we had like they weren't for sale, but they were up on platforms, and so like with little tags so you could read about each item. So we've done that. And then one really neat thing we did this last spring is we had live mannequins. So we had live models from the
What?
community, men and women, or a girl. We had from, I think the youngest was 12 up to 75. And so we had different vendors that participated and outfitted
cool.
these people. And yeah, it was really cool. It was such a great response from the community, and people like really got into it. And some people that really had no experience with vintage, that was like one of their first experiences. And it was like, I couldn't have asked for it to go better than it did.
Do
So
people
I think,
dress up when they come to shop too?
yes, that's another part that I
That's
love.
awesome.
So that's something I promote. So basically, if you dress up, you get $5 off your early bird ticket.
So cool.
Or if you're dressed in vintage, should say, if you're dressed in vintage, you get $5 off your early bird ticket. But it's only for the early bird. For general admission, there isn't like a bonus or like a discount. But it is really neat to see so many people dressed up, because it becomes more of an event. It's not just like I'm going to go there to buy and leave. Like, people stick around. This last year we had a fantastic DJ, and he was spinning tunes from literally the 20s through the 70s.
And it's so cool.
So we hope to kind of keep that going.
Yeah.
So I'm really
Bring some
excited
funnel
about
cake and they'll stay all
2027.
day.
Well, there hasn't been funnel cake yet, but that's an idea.
Is there food trucks or something? I've got it. Someone listening is going, is there food?
There are food trucks. There's a coffee truck and there's a food truck. So I was like,
Okay,
hey, we
good.
gotta have coffee and we gotta have food.
Yeah. They'll
I would
stay
love to build
longer if you feed them, you know?
I was hoping to add in some adult beverages, but this kind of brings it to a different bucket. So we haven't done that yet, but
Yeah.
definitely food and coffee.
So if you're listening to this podcast, mark your calendar. It'll be April 2027, right outside of St. Paul. Super easy to do, and a great time of year to visit Minnesota. Excellent weather in Minnesota at that time. And I didn't ask this question. Why make the move from Wisconsin to Minnesota? What happened? Was there something you could share?
Oh, well, my husband has been wanting me to move back to his home state,
Okay.
literally since we met. Well, maybe not since we met, but since 2020. And we have a almost 9-year-old, and the school districts up here are really great. And I thought it's time we moved towards his family, but it's been a blessing because I really connected with the vintage community here and made some really amazing friends. So
That's awesome. Oh, very cool.
yeah.
Do you store all your stuff at home, or do you have like a separate space for it? I have to ask the question.
It's all stored at home.
love
I
it.
do have a few random pieces still at my mom's, and she's in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. I used to have a bunch more at her house, but yeah, pretty much everything's stored here. So yeah, I can't get a ton. So sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm running out. Like, I don't have enough inventory, but then and then the next day I'm like, oh, I just got this by, and now I have too much. Where am I going to put it? So it's that
Someone
ever
will
like,
call you.
yes, it's a
What's
never ending
the furthest
dilemma.
away you've been to source a closet? I'm just curious. Is it mostly the Midwest? Do you ever get that call from Southern California or anything?
Nothing for
West
California
Coast.
yet. Again, Portland was the furthest. I was talking with someone from New York, but I just couldn't make the leap because I needed more like photos to make. But then I also been out at Brimfield in May. I did the Threadbare show out there, so that's out in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So I've been out there. I've been to Pennsylvania on a buying trip. That was a while ago.
East Coast has to have the older stuff.
The East Coast has some great older stuff.
It's Western wear you can find here on the West Coast. A lot of Western wear, a lot of old school like surf stuff down in Southern California, but it's just harder. That Victorian stuff, I don't think we have the climates for it or something.
Right. Well, and actually Midwest is pretty good for Victorian. More so, more of the workwear.
Interesting.
We find a lot more of that, or in different areas of the state and the more ritzy areas, you'll find the gowns and the labels and those pieces that are really extraordinary. But
now, before I ask you about your unicorn item, which I definitely have to say, if there's something that like stands out as the most cool thing you've ever found, what happens to the dolls when your mom, God willing, never passes? But that's your burden-ish. So thoughts, what happens to the dolls? Because
she's gonna love hearing this.
You have to ask
we talked about this. There's a couple that I would actually love to have in my collection.
There's a succession plan for the dolls.
Yep. Yep. But we've talked about it, and she's, like she's kind of like, well, maybe I want to sell them, or while I'm still here. And
Yeah.
whatever she wants to do, I back her 100%. I think she still loves them, so I think as long as she still has a passion for them, she'll keep holding on to some. But yes, she has an inventory system. She said it to me numerous times, and hopefully, she does have a clothing collection too, so I'm more like, oh, I'll
my
take the
gosh.
clothing collection.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to start thinking of those things. And now that you know that your son is not a fan of the dolls, you got to have.
Well, right. Not really into
Absolutely.
vintage. He was for a while, but he kind of now, if I ask him to wear anything, he needs a Lego set out of it.
Yeah. What are you going to give me? Oh gosh, you're getting to that age. But they
Yeah,
all come around and they discover thrift at some point.
I sure
Like,
hope so.
yeah, it'll happen. So unicorn item, do you have that thing that you're like the most proud of?
Yes, two things. If I can have two, and I'll show
Yeah,
you guys.
please.
If it's all right. So I just recently got
Oh
this.
my gosh.
And this is a 1920s metal bullion flapper wig. And then she has this
That is incredible.
rhinestone studded headpiece. I just got this actually this spring from Molly of Glam Diggers. She was a staple here in the vintage community. Also someone that I talked to originally about starting the show with. She kind of has gotten out of the business. She still dabbles a little bit here and there, but she would always find amazing pieces.
Wow.
And when she showed it to me, I was like,
how much is something like that worth? Can I ask? Is it crazy?
It's probably worth, it could be worth $2,000.
Yeah.
But it will be staying with me for the long. I mean, it would like major would have to happen for me to want to sell it.
Yeah. It goes in the will and trust. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then I also got, I don't know, let me try to bring it up here.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite piece that I spent a decent amount of money on.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
But
just your stand is even gorgeous for it. Oh, how did that survive?
Isn't it crazy? I know. And like all the details, like the silk velvet, the Art Nouveau, like button accents, the metallic trim. So this is a Parisian designer, Marion Bouzenet, and she was known in the late 1890s to 1914 or so. But she just like this. I saw this. I was at the Sturbridge show. I saw this and I was like, I have to I will at least need to find out how much she's asking for it.
Yeah.
And I was able to swing it, and I was like, okay, this is going to be mine. It's coming home with me.
And what kind of person wore that? Like, what's the history behind that?
So that probably would have been for a very fancy ball, like an event, a very fancy party ball, ball gown for. There would have been a skirt of some sort. I wish I could have seen what that looked like.
Yeah,
but it would have been for something very fancy. Yeah. So it definitely has a theatrical flair with the huge sleeves and then the trim and everything. So that is one piece that I'm like, I got that. Was that just a year ago? And I was just like,
interesting. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Okay, this just popped into my head because I'm sure it's coming out again soon. Bridgerton. When you see some of these shows, and have you ever utilized any of your pieces in something like that where someone could borrow it for a theater? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so not so much Bridgerton, but actually when Downton Abbey was going on, there was a lady from the UK that purchased from me, and she said, in a laundress, and she said, yeah, every Sunday my girlfriends and I get together and we get dressed up and we sit and watch it. So like that was really cool. I've gotten people from in California that have purchased items for movies. I usually ask like, what's the movie? And at the time they can't tell me. Mm-hmm. So someone's like, what movie is it? Like, what can
You're watching those things.
Yeah.
Pieces, yeah.
And recently I sold a piece that was actually a 1890s does like 1820s. So it had that Bridgerton vibe. That's the high waist, really pretty, like sheer floral cotton with lace. And I sold that, to someone that loves Bridgerton. But in terms of like actual, like a movie that I can call out, I don't know, but I know that I have had like people say, this is going for a theater production. This is going, we need this by this date because someone's going to try it on. So there has been places, just like even, theater, like not movies, but theaters that have
Oh,
purchased as
what
well.
an
So
honor, what an honor that they're
yeah,
utilizing these
yep.
things and giving them another life. Now, how would you say Bridgerton does in terms of a costuming? I'm sure they make 90% of those. How do they do? Are they, accurate in your mind? Yeah, I wondered.
I can appreciate what they're doing,
Sure.
but the colors and it just until you actually, yeah, I guess I was a little found it a little lackluster, to be
Yeah,
honest.
sure. When you know these
They're
pieces, I was curious about that. Interesting. Yeah, the one gal
yeah.
with all the vibrant color, that wasn't a thing of that time. No way.
I mean, it would have been a lot harder, and just they were more delicate, and you don't really, it doesn't come across that way, and the production. I
Yeah.
still love watching it.
Oh, yeah. And it's almost the
But
modernizing of it when they use like a Taylor Swift song for a ball dance. You're like, they have really brought this up to my level so I can identify
yeah,
with this, which I guess they had to do with the colors of the fabric and the sturdiness as well. It had to look a little bit like you might be able to buy it off the rack at Shein
right.
if you really, wanted to. That's hilarious.
Right. The
Okay.
Gilded Age now, that's one that I'm watching that I'm
Ooh.
loving.
Oh, you
And more of the
recommend?
1880s. Yeah, yep. I think the costumes are a lot better done. They're done much more true than
Sure.
I guess Bridgerton.
Yeah.
But it also, you could see like the seams in the back. I'm like, they wouldn't have had a seam in the back. That would have closed up the front. Or, like there's things I'm like, no, it's
Interesting.
just what it is.
Yeah.
But
And you have an eye for it. It's so interesting. And thank you for taking a look at our shawl. I really appreciate it.
yes, definitely. And if you're gonna sell it, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Although it would take a lot of my hours, like to try to if I wanted to bring it back with all the beading, but it is a very cool piece.
I think I'll probably end up putting it in my gala and just see if someone fabulous finds it. Cause we do, our auction is available, it's totally online. I don't even bring the pieces
Oh,
to the
okay.
event. So I'll share that on my social media and across our channels to say, hey, anyone. And I've had people buy weird stuff from across the country and it costs me more to send it to them, but I do it. So
Well,
we'll
definitely have
ship
to
for
keep an eye out
free.
on that.
Yeah, we ship for free, and yeah, we take that hit just because it's so fun to include people from all over the world in this weird auction. I think we're one of the only auctions for a nonprofit thrift store that 90% of our items, we call them ARC finds. And it's just weird stuff that we find at the store. We don't sell online. That's not our
Sure.
thing at our stores. We don't do it. But once a year, we do this big auction and we sell I think it's 60 pieces or something that are found items in the store. And it's all to benefit our mission. Every penny of it goes back to that. So it is for a good cause. And, I've had a couple of people go, do you know that you just sold me a guitar that you shouldn't, it's way too cheap. And I'm like, it made your day though. Right. And you helped
right.
the cause. So good. Send
No, that's
somebody to shop
awesome.
at my stores. So
Well, I will start shopping. I'm going to start looking at that.
yeah. And if you ever come to Colorado, take a look. But now I'm going to be on the hunt for anything Victorian. If I see it in that Grand Junction store, I'll reach out to you and let you know it's here.
Good.
What about the one thing you want to put out into the universe in case the thrift gods or the estate sale gods, or God willing, no one passes, but something big happens? Thoughts? What would you like to manifest?
Oh boy. My dream piece is like a French frock coat from the 70s.
Wow.
And those would have been really worn by a man. And I did see this piece. I did see my dream piece on an online auction that I was bidding on. And it was the first item, and it was in euro, or I think euros or pounds. So I was like, okay, I have so much, that I can spend. And there was other things I was interested in. And to this day, I still think about that piece because I think it went way under what it was worth. And I kind of kicked myself. That doesn't mean I would have won it if I would have kept bidding, but it was truly amazing. And I actually saw one this year at the Threadbare show in Southbridge, Massachusetts. And I think it was Amanda's Attic vintage. She had it. And it was green, which is what I want. Embroidered.
That's
frock
specific,
coat.
huh? Wow.
Exactly what I wanted. I just couldn't make it work. but it
Yeah.
was phenomenal and like
Well, it'll come
museum
back
condition.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I need to ask that question because I'm going to kick myself if I don't. The difference between like men's vintage versus the women's vintage. Educate us about that. Is it just as valuable, if not more?
So I'm really bad at the men's vintage. I'm like, I have no clue. I know like the men's workwear, men's denim, especially if it's 1930s or older, is very desirable. That is like,
Interesting. Yeah.
and I don't see that trend going away. I think it's only going to get stronger. But in terms of like, like a frock coat like that, I mean, that's
Yeah.
more of a collector. You're going to find a collector. You're not, because I think some of the workwear guys will wear it, or
Yeah.
unless it's like something that's a grail, maybe they would just put it on their wall. But
And men are bad at donating. They have been for centuries. They're not getting any better. Let's face it. Unless your wife donates it.
right.
Yeah.
So I have come across a couple suits from like the 1880s, and they do okay. But I just the men's stuff, I don't have an eye for it, except for like I said, that specific time period or those frock coats. I just love them. I think they're so special, and like the detail that went into them, it's like crazy. And I don't even know many men today that would even like appreciate it. And that's making a very general statement, because I know there are a lot of like male fashion collectors and sellers. And actually, Jamie Antique Wardrobe, he's awesome. He's got such a wealth of knowledge, and he's helped me a lot. And he would be someone that would love to come across a frock coat from the 1770s.
So there are men in this industry too. That's so fascinating. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it.
So
I love all this info. I have like a million more questions, so we may have to ask you to come back too. But I guess the next best question is, what's next? I'm sure you have big projects on the horizon. What can you share besides your upcoming show in April 2027? What's on the horizon? What's the big goal for 2027?
I just want the Twin Cities Truveness Show to keep growing. We had our biggest turnout yet this last spring. We had 1,000 attendees.
Wow.
And so as we can get more people, and I'm just trying to reach out more to the community too, not just collectors and dealers, and just people that didn't even know, like, oh, they come to it and like, I like this. Like some people that have no experience with vintage. And so like having that community aspect of like the live mannequins, I think that really helps. Yeah. So, and then like, oh, this is cool. Oh, look at this quality. Like this is like something that's not going to have a hole in it in a day or 2 days or what. So I just want to keep growing that show. And obviously I'm hoping that Daisy and Stella keeps growing and keeps finding these amazing opportunities. I'm kind of a pay it forward type of girl. So like, I always have good intentions, and just hopefully it comes back to me. So I don't know, like just, I guess growth is always good. And then being able to like be like someone that is given the opportunity to really care for these items. Like so if people can see that and hear that and want to reach out, I would love it.
And it really is like a labor of love. And we like to say that this podcast is devoted to normalizing shopping secondhand, but really you are keeping an entire generation of history alive with what you're doing. More than a generation, a century of clothing alive with the work that you're doing to preserve these items. And I didn't even get to ask you about cleaning. Give us one tip about cleaning before I know I'm looking at my time going, they're going to give me a, some kind of Maggie finish up, but I'm curious, like, what's the secret to cleaning?
So don't ever clean antique silk. Just don't do it. I've tried and I've wrecked something. I know people have done it, but I think unless you are a true conservator and know the tips that museums use, just because it's going to degrade the fabric. It's going to degrade the fabric. My biggest tip for like, I clean tons of antique cottons. Those are no-brainers, are easy for me. But my first thing I always do is I just run it through water, cold water. Like you will be amazed the amount of like soil and like dirt that comes off. Like I will run it through just water 3 or 4 times with just like a 10-minute soak or whatever. And then it's like every time there's a little bit less yellow, My next go-to is Dawn dish detergent. It's like super gentle. And then I use that, and
best
like
cleaner on the planet. Yes.
Yep. I love that stuff. It's great for everything. And then if I want to get it, like if there's still stains, then I might use a mix of hydrogen peroxide, Dawn
Ooh.
dish detergent, and baking soda, and I make a little paste. And then I'll like use a toothbrush and paste it on like stains, but I don't let it stay longer than 10 minutes, like 10 minutes max. Because even that hydrogen peroxide, like you just
Make
gotta
it
be
yellow.
careful.
Yeah.
And then I'll use retro wash, or that can be kind of pricey. So then I always get this mixed up, but it's sodium carbonate. You can actually buy that. Or no, sodium perborate. Sorry, sodium perborate is something you can buy, and it's use like a little scoop and you can soak, and that'll help whiten things too. The sun is huge. Like I
interesting.
use my deck all the time, and I lay
Yeah.
things out once they're done. That just makes a huge difference. Just cleaning it,
Fascinating.
doing all these things, and putting it on the sun. I have sprayed underarms with vodka to get like smells out.
Interesting.
I guess my main thing is usually like the Dawn, and then my next step is retro clean or the sodium perborate, and then if there's stains, I do that combination. But those are usually my like go-tos. I never put anything in the washing machine,
It's too harsh.
unless it's like from the 80s, then whatever, or
Yeah.
even the 70s, and I hand dry like any of these antique items. Hand dry them. I don't put them in the dryer or anything like that. But yeah. Those are some of my tips. And there's a lot of people out there that are like sharing this information. So it's not gatekeeping. There's so many people out there sharing. I guess my biggest thing would be please don't wash the silk. It's just, I know people that do it, and like people are going to do what they're going to do, but it will degrade. And 100-year-old silk is just.
Yeah. Preserve it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could kind of sum up for us, I mean, you really are preserving history. Is that part of the reason that you do this as well?
I mean, I think it's when I find out about a piece and it's like the family member brings it to me and then they have the history. I love that. That is my absolute favorite thing. Like even when I don't know about it, it's like I always envision like, who wore this? What did they wear it to? What was that person like? How did they, like, well, how would I feel if I was, wearing this? And those are just fun things for me to think about. I love, I definitely love the history, but to be honest, I am like a glutton for like the details, the trims, the embroideries. It's just, you don't see that today. You don't see anything like that. Or well, I don't anyways, at least. And so unless it's antique, and it's just, I don't know, there's just something super special about it. And like where people actually spent the time and put all this time and energy into something and created this beautiful thing that we get to like literally just feast our eyes on. You just don't find that today, like it's like, I don't know.
I gotta tell you, you make me really excited about it. I love your enthusiasm for this. Like,
Thank you.
It's really exciting. And it's such an era that we really haven't touched on this podcast, because I just don't meet people that are, this knowledgeable about it. So I'm grateful to you. Thank you for your service to our industry, because it is shining a light on preserving this history, but also that it's cool to have something that's old and, saving it for the next generation. So thank you for your service. Very grateful.
Oh, well, thank you, Maggie. Thank you. I appreciate it, and sharing this information and just my stories with everyone.
And you're open if someone has a question, they want to attend the show, all the things. Yes. Yep. To you. Okay.
Definitely. I'm an open book. Send your questions, anything my way. Yeah.
I love it. And mark your calendars, guys. April 2027.
Right. April 17th, 2027. April 17th.
Okay.
Yep.
And say the name of it one more time too. The True Vintage.
Twin Cities True Vintage Show. You can find us on Instagram too.
I love it. And before we end, we like to give a shout out to one Miss Dolly Parton. I'm sure you've seen her clothing. Okay. Thoughts, anything you'd like to say to her about our queen? She must be listening today.
Oh, I was gonna say, I like all the stuff behind you. No, I think she's music wise. 5. Come on, you can't give better than that. And Jolene.
Yes.
In terms of like fashion, I kind of think of Dolly as like wearing the fringe Western shirts.
Oh, yes.
That's what I envision like when I think of her. So definitely a fashion icon, queen in the industry, amazing singer. Everything about her is pretty awesome. And her like imagination library that, she sent my son a book every month until he was 5 years old.
Oh, I love
super cool.
Yes,
So
I'm hearing more
wonderful.
and more states that are part of it. Thank goodness. And Taylor Swift just gave her $2 million as
Oh, awesome.
for her imagination library, just as a wedding gift. So
Oh,
love
that's
it.
cool. That's really cool.
Special
Yeah.
thing. Well, you actually absolutely made my day. Tell our listeners once again how they find you, follow you, and all the things so they can connect.
Yep, daisyandstella.com. You can find me on Instagram, Daisy and Stella Vintage. You can find the Twin Cities True Vintage Show on Instagram, Twin Cities True Vintage Show. I'm on Whatnot as Daisy and Stella VTG. And yeah, just pretty much if you Google Daisy and Stella Vintage, you should be able to find me.
Perfect. Brooke, you're amazing. Thanks for your time today. We are so grateful.
Awesome. Thanks, Maggie.
And Thrifties, thanks so much for tuning in once again to the Get Thrifty podcast. Reminder, save our pod and leave us a 5-star review about how funny, creative, and smart we are. And if you're part of this unique thrift culture and you'd like to be on this podcast, we'd love to have you. You can find me on Instagram at Podcast with Maggie. Hopefully I'll have the lights on. And follow ARC on Instagram and YouTube at ARC Thrift, and now on TikTok at ARC Thrift Stores. Thanks so much and have a wonderful week.
Hunt for it, find it, make it your own. It's the Get Thrifty Podcast.